everybody coming out of the costume department, and me going, look at this interesting cabinet. I haven't.
I'm sorry, is that a bell?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's the electrical turning on. The compressor. I should probably crank the compressor off, but we're going to probably see some more shows later, right?
Yes.
Okay, we can just see what's going on.
It's been 15. It's been way over 15
I don't
minutes.
think you called.
Yeah, you hadn't called Bert.
Want to call Bert again? See how long it takes to get him to answer his phone? There we go. Here, just set that down. So anyway, I found this cabinet, and I thought, this is an interesting cabinet. You know, it's just got some more interesting stuff in it. Miscellaneous tool manuals, miscellaneous drafting, mini show information, new Rocket-Fire prints, TV top, standalone AGFM. You know what the AGFM is?
No.
Okay, you'll be introduced to the AGFM in the next room. Toy show prints, clunk. Here's a whole clunk thing. It says pre-installation, installation, lists and drawings, critical adjustments, and catalog. So I imagine.
It's Bubba. What fast will do with the monsters of the morning? Leave me a message and I might call you back if you're lucky. I'm out.
At the tone, please record your message.
I guess I'll
When
leave
you
him
finish
another message.
recording, you may.
A whoop ass.
Hey, Bubba. We're just hoping to hear from you, man. Bye-bye. You know, Uncle Clunk installation instructions. Disassemble crates, unpackage all boxes, inventory, install ceiling accessories. You know, so we probably have enough information if we have the parts to get those things working again. Here's some more clunks. Stuff critical adjustments, toy show standalone, AGFM. I'll show you the AGFM in just a minute. But then I opened up the bottom drawer and I thought, you know, now here's some collector shit. Look at this. Now obviously this is a copy of something, but it's Chuck E. Cheese is closed at 1997 Aloma Avenue. Showbiz will honor their tokens and coupons. So
Ooh,
this,
burn!
this is what it was all about. It was all about kicking their ass and rubbing their nose in it. So when they came to me and said, guess what? We want you to start building Chuck E. Cheese. I said, wait a minute, what about kicking their ass and rubbing their nose in it? What's up with that? So I stayed true to what I believed in. And I actually felt like the battle between Chuck E. Cheese and Billy Bob was more important than the battle between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and I'm Jewish. You know?
Ooh, there's one of them
I
oxymorons.
can tell you that back when the Olympics in the 80s, the early 80s, the Olympics, remember when the terrorists got in and killed all the Israeli athletes? Are you old enough to remember that? It was in the 80s.
Was it in the 80s?
I know it was in the 80s because when it came out, I felt bad for still thinking that it was more important that Billy Bob kicked Chuck E. Cheese's ass. So, I mean, I was all about kicking that rat's ass. And this is just to show you how, and I didn't write this. This is corporate wrote this ad. So I can just tell you that we were all about kicking that rat's ass, and nobody could ever blame me for feeling like we should have declared victory and buried that rat and moved on with Billy Bob in victory and not propped him up, not ever allowed him to be, you know, the celebrity or the winner that he is today. So basically that's where all my feelings came from. Is that, you know, years and years and years of fighting, when we finally kicked their ass, we should have put them in their grave. Let's see what this is. These are just, I guess these are prints that show how to install your show. You know, we'd have to really go through the stuff with a fine-tooth comb to see what they are or what parts they are. Electrical prints.
Electrical prints, hey. RAF panel.
RAF 100B control panel.
David, take him down. I'll be right behind you.
Let's see what it is. This, I think this just shows the mechanical, you know, shows basically the mechanics of it. Of course, I've got the rest of it, you know, the exact wiring of those panels on other prints. So it's like that stuff does exist. In fact, that's in the installation manual. Let's see what this is. This is the IAAPA tree. Shows all the movements of the tree that we've got downstairs. Let's see.
You mean the Wizard of Oz tree?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool.
What's this? Showbiz Pizza Place layout for Central Florida rod and drapery. Okay, so that's the layout that shows the drapes.
Stage.
Shows the stage and how to build the stage. Shows the conduit behind the stage and under the platform. It's signed by Dave Thomas.
Hey,
I
look,
guess
it's the first clonk.
It does look like it's
The clown.
Would that be the Wendy's guy?
He is that.
yeah.
Different name.
The Wendy's Dave Thomas?
Oh, wow,
Oh, no.
that's some...
Yeah, here's the original pictures that we took of the critters. Okay, there's the Wolfpack 5 Billy Wilbur, and he later became Billy Bob, metamorphosed in Billy Bob. There's the dog playing the piano, and that's one of the critters of the Country Critter Band. There's our little
Mama Grandbags.
Mama Grandbags. But you know what? Is it because I'm getting older, or does she look awfully young?
Oh.
You know what I mean when you see pictures and say, I thought that was an old lady. That looks like a young woman there to me. You know, the original Confederate critters. There's the drummer, banjo player, pianist. Here's Pete and Repeat, etc. A few copies. Look, there's Willie Wabbit.
Oh.
And then here's a control system showing, okay, here's one of my original control systems running on an 8-track tape with 4 channels per tape, per track. So this particular machine, we used 1 track of audio and 3 tracks of data. Each track had 4 movements on it. So that was 12 movements. So I could get so this is apparently, see, in each one of these modules controlled 1 movement. So apparently I could get 12 movements out of this baby, and that's how we ran the original bear. It probably had something like 12, and look, they're even labeled. Eyes, lean, body, chord, strum, head, right leg, left leg. So that was apparently Friendly Freddy's control system. And look, there's a few little lost relays just hanging out there that don't have anywhere to live. You ever built stuff and you have to hang something out there on the side?
Yeah.
There wasn't enough room in the box, so the relay's hanging on the outside. Probably something like that. Another conceptual product for some reason. A lot of customers had us just doing a lot of work for them that never actually went anywhere. Here's a Tascam 44 manual. Are those of any value?
Yeah. They pop up on eBay every once in a while. That and the 234 manual.
How much do you get for those?
$20.
It's not bad. Plus $7 shipping and handling. There you go. You put that in your pile of stuff to sell. Let's see. There's a copy of an old, I guess, newspaper printout. Showbiz employee electronic specialist John Carr checks members of the Rockfire explosion. There's some ads. Chuck E. Cheese is here to stay. Look, they had a comeback ad. So they didn't like our ad. Chuck E. Cheese is closed. So they had another Chuck E. Cheese that was open, and a large pizza for $5.99, you bet. And it's all new.
As opposed to the old pizzas. That's
I guess. And it's all new.
Orlando.
Here, Advanced Animation. They bought one of my characters from me, took it apart, and then went into competition with me. So there was a lot of that going on in the 80s. They'd buy characters and then start producing them. They'll put you in show business overnight. The Electric Mouse Orchestra.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that.
That was their original marketing program. Here we go. Pizza Time has 1 week to pay off $50 million. March 24th, 1984.
Wow, so yeah, so it was 83, not 84 where they really started doing that.
Here's a note from my dad. Aaron, Mike, Greg, this is very bad news for Pizza Time. And while I don't want to gloat over someone else's disaster, it's also very good news for showbiz and creative. Unless Chucky pulls a 1 in 50 million miracle, so to speak, out of the hat, even if he does, Chapter 11 seems a virtual certainty for Pizza Time, and it is exceedingly improbable that it can long be a significant competitor to showbiz. Except for the fact that showbiz propped them up. They were dead, they were gone, they were over, they were split, they were finished. And they did die, by the way. All the people who were involved, they're gone. What we did was took over their assets, and so the showbiz people saved them. There we go. There's more of that Electric Mouse Orchestra. Our new technology can put you in the chips. There's Warner. Warner got into the frickin' business. Break into the big time without big bucks. See, so there's an interesting brochure. Would anything like that be of any interest on eBay?
You could try it, I don't know.
Headliners without headaches. Looks like Jay Leno at the piano. That kind of looks like the War of Bloods.
Yeah. You know the Warblets only have 2 movements to them.
Is that right?
They
Lazo.
walk back and forth and all 3 of the beats are off of 1 cylinder.
Pizza Time stock suffers case of physical indigestion. So we got a lot of shit. I guess these are just things we collected, just the reports and the news stories and the other. Oh, show scan. This is something I bet very few of you know anything about. Does anybody know what show scan is? See, show scan was implemented in Showbiz Pizza Place to try and improve the entertainment. They wanted something more exciting. They wanted to bring people in, so they started opening show scan cinemas in a few test locations. And the show scan was kind of like IMAX. Big screen, high definition video. In fact, it was like 80 frames per second video. And it was, the only problem was that Douglas Trumbull, have you ever heard of Douglas Trumbull? He's a pretty good film producer, and he actually did he did the special effects in 2001 Space Odyssey. The shows weren't good enough. It just wasn't good enough, the storylines and so forth. And so ShowScan itself was kind of a failure. And this is stories about the different shows in ShowScan. But it's surprising that you guys don't even know about ShowScan, because ShowScan was a big part of the Showbiz Pizza Place trials and tribulations, especially in Dallas.
I'm trying to remember. See, I only went to one store, though, and that was like My Showbiz. Apparently they didn't do clunk.
Nolan Bushnell's new game plan. Pizza Time experience left its mark. Let's see what his big new game plan is. I like getting companies started. I don't care if I run them. True to his philosophy, Bushnell last week gave up the reins of the 260-store Pizza Time theater chain,
Oops.
which piled up in 1983 losses that may reach $15 million. Blah, blah, blah. I've been chief executive for the last time, he said. Am I a bad planner? No. Am I a bad executive? Yeah. Poor Bushnell. Operating statements and financial statements for all the restaurants. I guess if you get into it, you can finally figure out what went wrong. But the problem is it just costs too much. Okay, let's see, operating instructions, graphic equalizers. Boy, those are some crummy graphic equalizers in those racks. They didn't hold up over time. Let's see. All right, let's move on this way. Okay, this is a kind of a lab. We did a couple of different things in here. These were some experiments that were set up that we were using to. I guess we were designing show selector software here with this, and of course I have some spare parts of apples and stuff like that over here. And with this system over here, this is how we made our show tapes that were on videotape, the SVHS videotapes. And this was all automatic, and the way it worked was we had source tapes and we had object tapes. So the source tapes, and they're all in these boxes still, the masters for the new Rockafire shows. So the masters would go, and also the regular Rockafire, the classic Rockafire were in here too. The ones that ran off this kind of a show selector. And the original master would go in here, and we'd program in which shows that we wanted it to transfer, and it would search, find the shows, and transfer them and create a show tape. And so we were actually doing that, one show tape at a time.
How many movements were on the new?
On the new, probably around the same number of movements total. You know, in the 250 range, 2 to 250 range total. So, yeah. And we program EEPROMs there. There's my EEPROM blaster inside that Apple IIe. And I still, every once in a while, I program, you know what that is right there? That's a ZTAC. That's how we used to do it. I don't know how it's done now. This is still the way I do it. But you plug in an EEPROM in the back of a ZTAC. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah, this is the way it's done. This is a microcontroller, and this is the memory, right? And so you change what's in the memory with an EEPROM blaster, and then you plug the memory into the back of the microcontroller.
Okay, my dad
I've
had
never
something
seen
that did that.
The microcontroller or piggyback like that.
So I guess nowadays you can actually change the code inside of a microcontroller pretty easily without it having to be a piggyback, right? It's
I've seen them
probably
separate on the board.
rewritable. Or you'd have them separate, the EEPROM
Yeah.
separate. Of course we had them separate too, but with a piggyback like this, it made it a nice little package. And then when you knew exactly what the code was, you could erase this. And so when you erase this and you try new code, when you got your code just right, then you could burn it permanently onto one of these. And it would burn permanently. And that's what runs the bit stripper that's in Chris Thrash's control system. Okay, so electronics, software, you know, stuff like that going on here.
Oh, that was a maneuver.
First of all, this was a museum of a sort. We used to have the Wizard of Oz show over here, and we had the Hard Luck Bear show over here. Now the Hard Luck Bear show that I bought back from a customer is still sitting back here behind these shelves that are holding parts that went into the AGFM. And we're going to see that in a minute. But see, so back here we have the drummers for the we call them the Four Seasons Bears. We had another name for them, the Hard Luck Bears. There's Billy Bill is back there on the bass. There's an old control system over there with a reel-to-reel deck running it. There's Mama Graham bags.
Oh yeah.
And did when you guys did this, did Disney have their bear show then?
Yeah. Yeah, they had their bear show when I started, before I started. Here's a box of books that show how everything's built. Like, here's Looney Bird and props. Shows all the mechanisms, where the holes are drilled. You could actually build these characters just from these books. in here. So all the drawings for every character. There's Mama Graham bags, arms, head, chest, neck, so forth. What's the most important thing to clean up, right? Basically, I just carved myself out a little place to work in the front and just forget about everything else. Yeah, that's the Wolfman. Now that's the pre-Rolf and Earl.
It's got different hands, doesn't it?
Yeah, see, there's no Earl on this right hand.
And they're not closed for that. What do you call it? Drumstick.
Right, because we didn't have drumsticks back then. Yeah, this was the Wolfman that did the Wolfman Jack routine.
Same, that's the same shirt on all.
Yep, very similar, if not the same.
It's the same, yeah, same fabric anyway, maybe a different cut.
Uh-huh.
Basically, he just shaved and got a hand puppet.
Yep.
Didn't he have a microphone at one point, though?
He might have, because he was a DJ.
Wolfpack 5, I think, when he was the announcer, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you like my melodies.
You know, so he had a kind of an Earl voice, but it was a little more Wolfman Jackish.
There's the hands again.
There's Laszlo.
Oh, maybe that's where the hands went. Is that
Yeah.
the one that was up on eBay? Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Nope, they didn't quite give me enough for him. So, and he doesn't have a head. I'm not sure what happened to his head, but I think I know. That manager of my shop at one time took him apart to build a worse. There you go. I just want to do something so it doesn't collapse any further, you know?
Actually, that's pretty freaky.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no.
Hey, there you go. Now that'll be an extra $100. Yeah. Yeah, see, so I put that on eBay when I was thinking, okay, well, I need to sell something in here. What do I need to sell? So I came in here and decided to sell that guy. But they didn't meet my reserve, and I said, oh, screw it. Screw it. I don't know if I should really sell it yet or not. I'm just not sure really what to do with everything. But now I'm going to tell you about the anti-gravity freedom machine. All these boards you see back here are the result of 15 years' work. Started working on this in 1981. This is the actual motherboard for the anti-gravity freedom machine. It's my own hardware, and it runs my own software, my proprietary operating system. So there's the PC, Windows, and before that it was DOS. And there's the Macintosh operating system, and then there's the anti-gravity freedom machine. So I was developing my own anti-gravity freedom machine that was going to supposedly supplant the computer world. I was really having dreams, not really of building any more animation. And the reason that I somewhat abandoned animation back in the 90s and the 85 to 95 range is because, or even 85 to 2000, is because I was working on this. And what this was, is this was a system that was going to connect the entire world together through email. So I originally started this program because we had 200 and something shows out there. We had 200 and something technicians that I had to be in touch with on a daily basis. And I wanted to find a way to communicate with them instantly. So I would type out my messages, send it to them, and they'd instantly have it. That was the idea behind email. I had to explain to everybody what email was. People pretty much, you know, put a dumb look on their face when I said, we're all going to be communicating through email someday, and I'm going to provide the machine that's going to do it. And this is the machine. Well, I was half right.
What'd you send him? The transmission to a phone or?
Phone line. I knew nothing about the internet at that point. And so this works straight through the phone line. It's got a phone line connector on it.
Cool.
So you take these things home, of course packaged, you know, this is just the motherboard. You take them home, you plug them into the phone line and to the outlet, and you're instantly connected to the network of people who you want to be connected to. You weren't connected to everybody in the world. There was no such thing as junk mail or viruses. It was just your network. And so you can instantly send out messages. And we'll see the finished machines in the next room. But so we were building hundreds of these boards, getting ready. In fact, this is the desk model of what it looked like when it was packaged. It had a floppy drive, that's where your messages were stored. It had a fix-it button. If anything ever went wrong with your software or your system, or it just didn't work, or it hung up, you press the fix-it button.
Almost like
the
Staples,
oh,
the
the
easy
oh,
button.
yeah, the oh shit button, yeah.
And what does the fix-it button do?
Reboot.
It Power's down and power's up. You did not have to worry about starting your system like the way you do with a PC. Hitting the start button and then powering down. You could pull the plug on it. You could push the plug back in. You know, this thing, and it comes up in a matter of seconds. So it still was way ahead of its time, and it still really worked well. But the problem is, when I finally came out with it in 1996, and I took it to the Consumer Electronics Show, it was too late. The internet had already taken over, and email had become a free commodity. So it was just another dream. Here's the unit. Here's the way I envisioned it would work, and you had your little wireless keyboard that you could use with this.
It was premature text messaging. On your phone
Oh,
now.
whoa. We could have been using that.
Uh-huh.
To the cars.
So, yeah, and I had a number of beta test networks set up. So a lot of people were using, I mean, a lot of my own friends and business acquaintances had their own beta test networks. Now, I've continued to use these machines. They're not, like, completely useless by any means. They're great little microcontrollers systems because, you know, I mean, on the back we've got a parallel port, I've got a serial communication interface, and I've used it in a number of projects. In fact, the TiVo controller has this at its heart. You know, the Private Paul has a anti-gravity freedom machine in it. The Star Launcher, run by an anti-gravity freedom machine. You know, there's no PC in there, but what runs it? Anti-gravity freedom machine. And it's really neat. If you saw the way the system works, I'm sure David would actually appreciate this. It has a light pen, and you can, you know, everything's buttons on the screen. That was the way it was originally designed. And this goes back before there was buttons on screens. You know, that you have now where you click buttons on screens. This was like, wow, all you have to do is press the button. You don't have to type in commands to make this work. And another thing you can do with this is program it easily. So if you wanted to draw your own buttons, you could. Using the same light pen, you could go to a new screen, you could draw your own buttons, label them, connect them to a secret module connection code, and then they operated. And, you know, you asked me, would it go out on the telephone line or the internet? Went out on the telephone line. But one of the neat things about this is I had to build it cheap, so we couldn't afford to put a modem in here. Modems, at the time that I started developing this, cost $300 for a 300 baud modem. Yeah. So I developed a software modem that worked in software. It didn't have any parts to it at all except for the telephone interface. And basically banged the bits out over the phone line. And it took about 3 years to develop that software. I set up on the mountain in Vail, Colorado, just developing that. I had a diverter, a call diverter here in Orlando, which basically had 2 telephone lines so that I'd call one line, it would take the call and connect to another telephone line and call back to the other number. And so I could send a signal from my Vail laboratory to home, have it rerouted back to me to another telephone line. So I'd have this signal that I was sending thousands of miles and coming back thousands of miles. And you could see what it did, you know. So you send this perfect sine wave out on one side and you're getting it back, you know, a second later on the other side. And you could see the distortion and the ring and all the other effects, the phenomenon that affected the electronics. And that's what I was working with. I was studying all those phenomena and creating a modem that would actually transmit data. And I can't tell you how exciting it was the day that I first sent a word out over that wire and it came back on the other side. It was like I just, you know, invented the light bulb or something. And it pretty much amazed me, though, when modems got up to 56,000 bits per second, because I never approached that. I got up to about 3,000 bits per second, and that was far in excess of what the rest of the industry was doing. They were doing 300, then they went up to like 1,200. There was a 1,200 baud modem, and I was doing like 3,000. I thought I was going to be, you know, really famous for this. But, you know, story of most inventors' lives. So when those guys on American Inventor start bawling their eyes out, I just say, give me a break. Grow a set. Yeah, dang. You guys have got a lot to learn. So what? You invested everything. So what? You lost your home. So what? You sold your wife's jewelry for your invention. You know, you get so hardened. So, yeah, I know what that's like. So anyway, let's move on to the next room, and I'll actually show you the finished anti-gravity freedom machines. We have sexy lights. Okay, now I use this room to sort my receipts. I haven't entered them into my computer. Just to show you how far behind I am, these are all my receipts for my various credit cards that I haven't entered into my computer yet. And they go all the way back to when we went out of the country back in October. So you can see I'm really behind. I haven't even done my own bookkeeping. But anyway, so that's what I'm using the boardroom table for. This is where we used to have our meetings. And we brought customers in here when we had a whole bunch of customers that came in at one time. This is the last incarnation of the show selector service. It shows where we had our show selectors before, you know, the end of that whole deal. Fix my shoelace. So I'd stand up here and I'd give my speeches and I'd tell everybody what we're going to do. And put together my plan. This was the plan of Looney Birds, how we were going to put it together. Okay? And I was figuring out how we were going to put together a company that had so many shares of stock, and we had everybody's name who was still with the company that went down here and how many shares each one was going to get. I had to figure out who was worth what, like I was telling you, you know. Okay, so Alex, where are you, Alex? You're going to get 250 shares. Mel, my dad's going to get 400 shares. I'm getting 500 shares. Kat was going to get 180 shares. Dennis, Max, Jason. There's Dennis. Look, he's got an X through his name. That was the first time I X'd him out.
I think we should erase his name.
Well, it's X'd out. That's even better. So anyway, as people started quitting, we would X their names and then distribute their shares to someone else. Unfortunately, again, it's another business venture that didn't pan out for any one of these folks. So, so I was in the, showed the calculations. I was basically showing how much we're going to have to borrow and in how many years we're going to get our money back. The only problem is we weren't counting on all those people who were buying McDonald's and dragging their food into Looney Birds. Who could this be? The other phone. Oh, good for you, man. I got you on speakerphone, man. I'm with the whole group. I told them I was expecting your call. How you doing, man?
Oh, good. Good.
Oh, I know. That's because you. I know it's time for your voice to get around.
Well, it's just morning for me.
Right. It would be for me too, but these guys got me up at the crack of noon.
That's about right.
Yeah. They got me worn out. I need you to help me finish this tour. I'm all worn out.
You are?
Yeah.
Y'all going over to Amelia?
Yeah, we're going over to Amelia.
Alright. What time, like, 8?
8 o'clock. We're gonna go over there at 8 o'clock. We sure are. You want to meet us there and tell some stories? Okay. Oh, he's eating ice cream. What kind of ice cream is it, Bubba? What you got? What kind of... You know what, you're funny even when you're just like... You're kind of just out of it. You're still funny. I say you're funny even when you're out of it. Drop the phone in the toilet?
Oops.
Oh, God.
That's
Bubba dropped the phone in the toilet, y'all.
Oh, no.
Well, how you feeling, man? You feeling like coming and meeting us tonight?
That's some good enthusiasm there, buddy.
Hey, man. You wait till you see Bubba, man. He gonna make you laugh.
Everybody shut up
He
now.
gonna make you cry. Yeah, shut up. I told everybody shut up for a minute so I could hear you, Bubba. They're excited. They're really excited to meet you tonight.
Tell all the cars to shut up.
What?
You went and told all those cars to shut up.
I did. I told them all to shut up.
He called us tards. What the hell?
Hey, he's fat, so he can do that. He can do it
Yeah.
because he's fat.
Hey, you can call them anything you want. You tell them to shut up.
No, you shut up.
No, you shut up.
You shut up.
I already am shut up. Now you shut up.
You should be shutting up. Why you shutting up?
I'm shutting up right now. In a minute I'll be all shut up. I'm in the process of shutting up. But now you gotta shut up too.
You stupid.
stupid.
I ain't stupid, you stupid.
I said, Bert, you're stupid.
You're too stupid. stupid to be stupid. Hey, Bubba, you gonna come out here and see us at 8? I think that's what you said. You might be able to do that, huh?
Yeah, y'all change the time.
Do you want to?
I need to go right now.
Is it trashed? Holy trash.
Across town.
Well,
The safe on the drive?
well, you're probably still groggy from your nap. Well, no such luck. Nope, you didn't miss it yet, Bubba. Yep. Well, no, a lot of the roads are the same. There's some roads are different and some roads are the same, but it's still 714 West Amelia Street.
Okay. All right. I'll be over there at 8.
All right, man. That sounds swell. We'll see you there. Hey, when we get done over there, we might be going to IHOP. You want to go to IHOP with us? Food. Free food. Well, does IHOP have anything for diabetics?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pancakes. Oh,
Can you eat pancakes?
I want some pancakes.
I want your pancake.
The forest jump.
Okay. Okay, man. Well, you're certainly invited, okay? Okay, Bubba. Well, we'll see you over at the... Yeah, everybody's packing up their tent. No, tomorrow's Sunday. They're packing up their tents and going home.
Oh, okay. Clean out the cages.
Yeah, cleaning out the cages, packing up the tents. All it's all over except the hollering.
Over except the holler.
Yeah. All right, man.
Are you sure?
At the Amelia Bill. If you have any problems, just give me a call, okay? Okay. It'll be great to see you, man. See you soon. Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye.
Ah. Whoa!
I don't know,
You think
man.
he'll show up?
Oh.
Hey, I will not bet on that. I don't know, man. Blackpool, Pleasure Beach, Sea Ito. You know, I mean, there they are. There's all the customers, Charles Chen, all the customers through all the years that are all in these filing cabinets. So, if we ever really needed to figure out where all those shows went, we would go look in there. This office here is the one where I still spend some time. This was Alice Ann's office. Alice Ann was my bookkeeper, and she took care of all my records for me, and now since she's gone, this is where I come in to pay my bills and basically
And there he is.
where I live.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is basically my own little collection of characters.
Oh, there he is.
And there's the Rolf and Earl, the now famous $1,000 Rolf and Earl. The only one ever in existence. So that's a prototype.
Get a picture of it, Sean.
Yeah, I gotta get
Here,
the-
you
I
wanna
love
hold
that
your
vest.
Huh?
You can hold your roll.
Okay, here.
Here, look at it. I wish you guys had done a vest like that for the full size animatronic. It's just I just like the color. on it.
Oh, really?
There's the Duke. Get him to get the Duke.
I haven't seen a dude either.
Who's that, Aaron?
Who? That's Alice Ann's grandchild. She's now about 26.
Oh.
Yeah, I just found that in a drawer, and I pulled it out for her. You want to see the Duke?
Yes.
What's different about that dude? Just out of
His
curiosity.
knee.
No hat,
No hat.
no
I
collar.
bet you he had a hat. You know, I mean, it's no telling what might be missing, you know.
I gotta ask a stupid question about your toys, just for a sec. Do your Pee Wee Hermans, when you pull the strings, actually work? Because I've never found a
No.
working one. They just chatter
Yeah, they chatter, but the way you make them work.
as you hold it in. And you... Yeah,
I know you are, but what am I?
they're all like that. I just ask anytime I see it because I've got one too. And I've never found one that actually, like, you just let go of the string.
Yeah.
They all do that.
Look, there's the little model of the dragon.
What was he for?
Spec. Built him on spec. Just another waste of money.
Just kind of something to kind of shop around.
Yeah, I built him. It was a fire-breathing dragon. I thought, wow, neat. And so we built him. We gave him Duke's voice, and he sung Unchained Melody. And at the high points of the song, fire would come out of his mouth. Fire and smoke.
Do you have a lot of movements?
Yeah, a lot of movements. By the way, he's downstairs.
Awesome.
Let's see.
Looney Bird, incomplete,
Where?
right there on the hand of
Yeah,
some
I got a
monkey.
bunch of these. A bunch of these little masks. We might sell those on eBay. And when I say a bunch, I mean like maybe 5.
Would those fit the Billy Bob doll? They look like they might.
They look like they might, but I don't know. Oh, here's something that Kathy said, that Carrie said. That's right, Kathy's not with us any longer. That Carrie said that has never been seen. And this is the Colander Head Gazette. This is, maybe we had two issues of this, but this is the one that I can pull out right now. This is the Colander Head Gazette that had news about all the different colanders. Now what we might do is run this off and try and make it where you guys can see it. But it's got little articles and games and stories about the colander heads. Here's a story about how to throw your own colander party. Dear Gabby, my husband and I have been married 15 years. Our marriage is fine except one problem. In 15 years, he has never removed our colander from his head. He even wears it in the shower. I love spaghetti, but with the colander on his head, we can never have it unless we go out to eat. What should I do? Signed, Spaghetti Starved. Dear Starved, my advice to you is to use your noodle. Go out and buy 2 more colanders, one for your spaghetti and one to wear when you and your husband go to Colander Head night at Showbiz Pizza Place. That won't strain your pocketbook. Signed, Gabby. So, so it was all about that, all about wearing your colanders and, here's the royal family with their colanders on. Newest member, new baby with her colander head. So anyway, that's kind of a rare thing. And I'm going to show you some more colander head stuff here in just a second when we get out front. I guess that's all we want to see in here. Soldering, chips, wires, stuff like that there.
That'll be the fun.
I got a question for you, Aaron.
Yeah,
Those
well,
heaters
Yeah, gas heaters.
for the winter?
Yeah.
Look,
Got that cold in here, huh?
right here.
Yeah, in the winter it got too cold. Yeah, some
The
people
cold
go.
would retain the cold.
It could get pretty freaking
warm
cold.
up.
Yeah. I eventually disconnected. That's what that pipe is
There's the
up.
prototype stage.
That's it.
Gas. Yeah, there you go. That's the little Billy Bob doll with the stage and the curtains that open and close.
Man, I wish that had been produced.
Sounds like I got a bigger leak now than I had when we started. we might need to take a look at that. Who's in charge of leaks around here?
I deal with too many of them at home.
We might need to find that one. Here's a whole bunch of tapes, videotapes and stuff. And it'd be fun to check out some of these, I'm sure. But here's some Clarksville, West Virginia Showbiz Pizza Place. Liberty Celebration, 7/4/86. Not sure what we'd find if we ran that one up to the flagpole. Programming session for the convention, 1981. Programming of gorilla, cutting of dragon's neck. Cutting off dragon's neck at the convention.
Okay.
Uncle Ed is on this tape. Look again, Brenda. Uncle Ed. Of people wearing their colanders to Showbiz Pizza Place. want to see? Want to look at those?
Sure.
Find yourself.
Considering what it ran in '83, I mean
Yeah.
'93.
March of '83.
Yeah. Candace would have been one. No, you
And this is our. We put together some scrapbooks back in 1983. That might have some interesting things in them. All right, so I got. There's the piano. All right. There's basically my workout when I'm at the office. There's the pic. There's the mirror I told you to be sure and look for when we got here. The desk hasn't moved in years. The
Chandelier.
chandeliers. You're just gonna look for those. That's right.
The Prophet 5 was in this animation studio programming.
Haunted Mansion. Yeah, you know, we'll see that later this week.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you go down here first?
Okay, so watch your step on these, on this stuff here that seems to have fallen.
What's in this door?
Going out there is outside.
Oh, cool.
Hey,
Don't push him.
Now as you come down here, you'll notice
It gets cool.
Oh, it feels so good.
a 10-degree drop.
Oops. No light? This is like House on Haunted Hill.
Now this is the horror movie.
What was he
I'm
at?
scared.
Oh, I was kidding, but no.
Believe me, even though it's cool down here right now, in another month it'll be steaming down here. The only reason it's cool right now is because the extra insulation. We're still feeling the winter cool down here. So this was the first studio.
Cool. Oh, yeah, all analog keyboards.
See, the control room was in there, on the other side of that glass. That's the drum booth that Shauna is in.
There were no drums currently in it. But
No, we turned it into a little music processing room instead of drums. And so this is where we did a lot of the work. And these tapes that Joe's looking at over here, these are actually the masters on SVHS, ADAT masters of a lot of the music that we did in the 90s. So this isn't the oldest stuff, but this is the stuff, all the stuff we did in the 90s.
bingo, bingo. Is that audio only, or is that got programming?
These here are audio only, the programming ones are upstairs. You know, 16 Tons, Summer Love, Summertime Blues, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Title Master, Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, We Wish You a Merry Christmas, Walk the Dinosaur, Funky Chicken, you know, so all the stuff that we did in the 90s is up here. Here's a picture of Bubba, 1983 or 82, Bubba with his friend Fingers. Now, yeah, we probably did a remake of that.
You got some memory, huh?
That one was done
He
several
knows
years.
everything.
No, I know. I have no life outside of this.
It's pretty amazing, you know. It was in December.
What's the Kimberly show? I saw that on one of the show panels.
Well, it was a video show. We did a video with an audio show,
Okay.
and Kimberly is just our discovery. We found a girl that could really sing her ass off.
Whoa! Bad touch, bad touch.
Whoopsie.
Somebody's grabbing me.
Hey,